Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Good morning.
Good morning, Prabhu. Let me just turn this off.
Tell me, can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Tell me if you can hear this.
1 second. Let me turn off the music here. Krishna. All right.
Can you hear that?
No.
Oh, okay. You can't, I guess there are different settings, and
Yes.
you're not conversant with how to, or maybe I have to do it from my end. I don't know how, because I was playing the harmonium, but you don't hear this, eh?
No, because it's the noise cancellation is on, so it's canceling that noise.
Can you take the cancellation off?
That would have to be done on your side, meaning on
Oh,
yes.
I'll I'll look into that.
Okay, Ishan Prabhu, we can get going on live. So kindly please introduce the topic and then we can
I like to
start.
consider or talk about the Samsara prayers, which are written by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, called Sri Sri Gurvastaka. And okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyabadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, talking about Sri Sri Gurvastaka by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's interesting because Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his spiritual master was Narottam Das Thakur, and they were separated. They were separated by 100 years. The idea that the spiritual master has to be walking on the planet is negated by this understanding, even though all the people who are in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, otherwise known as ISKCON, they believe that the spiritual master has to be walking on the planet. Here we have, and they sing these prayers every day, but they overlook the fact that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who has written these prayers that they sing every day, did not have a spiritual master who was walking on the planet. So it just shows how people, when they're making up their own ideas of spiritual life, they will concoct all kinds of silly ideas. Crazy. So the first shloka here, Samsaradavanalida loka tranaya karuna ganaganatam Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya bande guru Sri Charanarvindam. The spiritual master is receiving benediction. How? He's giving us benediction, but how is he receiving benediction? From the ocean of mercy. The ocean of mercy is Krishna himself. That the spiritual master is receiving benediction from Krishna, just like a cloud pours water on a forest fire to extinguish that forest fire. The spiritual master delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is an ocean of auspicious qualities. So that Srila Prabhupada, he can extinguish the blazing fire of material existence. This does not mean that if we mechanically follow all the instructions we can given by the spiritual master, that we can extinguish the blazing fire of material existence. Rather, it is the spiritual master himself who gives us his blessings, and we have to receive those blessings. Just like it says in Bhagavad Gita, as it is by Srila Prabhupada, that tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshanaha. That Krishna is saying, you just approach a spiritual master. What kind of spiritual master? Tattva darshanaha. You have to find yourself a spiritual master who has the darshan, or the audience of Krishna, 724, without any break. He's living in intimate association with Krishna because he's a Nitya Siddha devotee. That means he's eternally liberated. He is not like us, that he has come to this, that he is born in this world as a conditioned soul. No, he's an eternally liberated soul. And he comes down, he's empowered by Krishna to come and give us his instructions and to bless us. Therefore, Krishna says that you find such a spiritual master and you inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. And in his purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that when the disciple is always ready to offer service, when very submissively to the bona fide spiritual master, that the spiritual master blesses as that disciple. There's a reciprocation of inquiry, submission, and service on one side, and blessings from the other side, that the spiritual master blesses us with knowledge. So this is a living relationship. It's a transcendental relationship. Material concepts of space and time have no bearing on this relationship. He's our eternal spiritual master, and he's our savior. So he's empowered by Krishna to take that role, and therefore Srila Prabhupada writes in many places, in his teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, in his Srimad Bhagavatam purports, that is, we should not consider the bona fide spiritual master like he's an ordinary human being, like he's one of us. Actually, is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the bona fide spiritual master, empowered by Krishna, is an avatar, is the form. Krishna can take many different forms, and he can also take the form, he can empower a jiva soul to take the part of Krishna. And that's called Shakti Avesh Avatar. He has the power, or the Shakti, the energy of Krishna himself, to play this role, to be the spiritual Jagat Guru, to be the spiritual master of the universe, who can simultaneously be in touch with all of us and understand our devotion and reciprocate with us. And so here, this is explained in this verse, that the spiritual master, he delivers the materially afflicted world by extinguishing the blazing fire of material existence. He can bless us so that we have direct perception of ourselves as spirit soul. He can bless us so that we're no longer afflicted by the influence of the material nature, Krishna's material nature. Second verse, Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nrita Gita Baditra Madhyam Manasora Sena Romanchakam Pashru Taranga Bajo Bande Garoshi Charanarabindam. So the spiritual master, he's chanting the holy name. He's dancing in ecstasy. He's singing. He's playing musical instruments. The spiritual master is always gladdened by the Samkirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And because he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion, he's relishing the mellows of pure devotion. This is talked about, discussed in the Nectar of Devotion, that the pure devotee is always relishing within his heart the mellows of pure devotion within his mind. Sometimes his hairs stand on end. He feels quivering in his body. Tears flow from his eyes like waves. we offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. So we have to think deeply about this when we sing these prayers, that the bona fide spiritual master, he's in touch with Lord Chaitanya. Actually, Srila Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita purports that one can hear the ecstatic chanting of Lord Chaitanya through the disciplic succession. It is as good as, it's also explained in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 18, that the process of becoming realized, of making spiritual progress in this day and age, in this Kali Yuga, the process is that this bona fide spiritual master chants the mantra, and the sound vibration enters the ear of the disciple. And if the disciple chants with the same feeling, this becomes the worship of the holy name. And then the holy name spreads his glories within the heart of such a disciple. So this means that we are chanting under the guidance of a pure devotee. In Sri Harinam Chintamani, it is Srila Haridas Thakur explains, he's the Acharya of the holy, chanting the holy name of Krishna. No one is better authority than Srila Haridas Thakur. He's saying that when we chant Hare Krishna, we should be meditating on our spiritual master and trying to chant with under his guidance, just like we have in the third line of Gayatri mantra, that let us meditate on our spiritual master, who's always enthused. He's full of enthusiasm in this Krishna consciousness. Let us taste his enthusiasm, and let us engage in Krishna conscious activities with that same feeling of enthusiasm that we're learning from him. Therefore, we're learning from him not so many activities, although they're important activities, but we're learning from him what is Krishna consciousness. We're learning how to be conscious of Krishna under the guidance of someone who's perfectly Krishna conscious. So the bona fide spiritual master, he's perfectly Krishna conscious. And in this way, we're reading that he is chanting the holy name, and he's dancing, and sometimes in ecstasy, and he's singing, playing musical instruments, and he's so happy by the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And because he having these devotional feelings within his heart, he has these ecstatic symptoms, and tears come to his eyes, and he sometimes he's quivering in his body. And this is this is the real spiritual master. He's pure devotee. He has an intimate relationship with Krishna, and he's Lord Chaitanya's representative. Actually, Lord Chaitanya himself said that this Krishna consciousness movement would go to every town and village, and there would be one special devotee who would introduce this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Even when Srila Prabhupada was born, his horoscope said that he would go to the Western countries and he would establish temples all over the world. And Srila Prabhupada says he was receiving this information about his own horoscope, and he was thinking, my goodness, how is all this going to happen? And sometimes the Nitya Siddha devotees, they are not aware, although they're sent by Krishna to this world, it only becomes understood by them what is their real role. They play the part that they're a person in this world, and then they're enlightened and they begin to understand what is their real business here, saving us. Similarly, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, same way, he was giving education to children. He was a high court judge, but at a certain point in his life here on the Earth planet, he became aware that he's here for teaching. So these Nityasiddhas, they have these pastimes like that. The third verse, the spiritual master is always engaged Shivigrahara Dana Nityanana Sringara Tanman Dhiramarjanara Madho Yuktasya Bhaktamscha Nayunjatopi Bande Guru Sri Charanarabindam. The spiritual master is always engaged in the temple worship of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. He also engages his disciples in such worship. They dress the deities in beautiful clothes and ornaments. They clean their temple, and they perform other similar worship of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada has trained us like this. One time in Delhi temple, Srila Prabhupada was installing deities, Krishna, Partha, Sarathi. Partha is Arjun. Arjun, and Krishna is the chariot driver of Arjun. And Radha Partha Sarathi. Srimati Radharani has a relationship with the chariot driver of Arjun, Lord Krishna. This is a very wonderful pastime because Srimati Radharani, she met Krishna at Kurukshetra and wished not to see him in all that royal dress surrounded by his courtiers, a big Kshatriya. But she wanted to take him back to Vrindavan, where he would be playing on his flute. So on the bank of the Yamuna River. So this is the theme or understanding of the Ratha Yatra festival. The Ratha Yatra festival is taking Krishna from his royal position back to Vrindavan, and therefore Lord Chaitanya, he's in the mood of Srimati Radharani, and he's dancing ecstatically before the Rath Yatra cart. Now I have the Lord of my life. I'm taking him back to Vrindavan. So the devotees, they participate in the Rath Yatra in this spirit. So one time I was helping Srila Prabhupada I was his assistant, just menial servant. As Srila Prabhupada was doing installation ceremony for Sri Radha Parthasarathi. He was sitting in front of the deities, in front of the altar, and bathing them with different substances, yogurt, honey, ghee, things of that nature. And from Srila Prabhupada's eyes, it came just like from a syringe. The water was coming just like from a syringe, like a foot or more, straight out from Srila Prabhupada's eyes. I had never seen anything like that. But, so I was staring. As Srila Prabhupada noticed that I was staring, and he made some gesture that I make myself busy in some way. not to, because there's the spiritual master, especially in our Krishna consciousness movement, the bona fide devotees, then sometimes they're feeling these ecstatic symptoms, experiencing, but they're not making a show. You're completely against this making a show that now we're having ecstatic feelings. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that they're only making this show because they want to be admired. As Srila Prabhupada says, if you meet a devotee who's going to go before the altar to offer his respects or his prayers, and if he if he appears to be fainting and falling on the floor of the temple, you should kick him in the head. Srila Prabhupada sarcastically says that he's in so much ecstasy, he won't mind. So we should not, there are today different devotees who claim to be part of this Krishna consciousness movement, who claim to be Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and they're making some kind of show or speaking in such a way that they're having these feelings. We should have nothing to do with such people. So the next verse says that Shatur Vida Sri Bhagavat Prasada Swadhana Triptin Hari Bhakta Shanhan Kritveva Kriptin Triptin Bhajata Sadaiva Bande Guru Sri Charanaravinda. The spiritual master, he's always offering Krishna 4 kinds of delicious food, analyzed as that which is licked, that which is chewed, that which is drunk and sucked up. When the spiritual master sees the devotees are satisfied by eating Bhagavad Prasada, he becomes satisfied. He likes that very much, to see us taking prasadam. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. We have in our possession on our computer different letters sent by Srila Prabhupada in which he explains the process for offering foodstuff to Krishna. And he says that very definitively that we should offer first to our spiritual master, who in turn offers to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya offers to Krishna. And then Lord Chaitanya takes the remnants of Radha and Krishna in great ecstasy. And then Srila Prabhupada takes the remnants of Lord Chaitanya in great ecstasy. And then he calls the devotees to take prasadam. But in ISKCON today, they don't follow that system. They have decided that Srila Prabhupada was wrong, that he made mistakes. And they offer first to Krishna, and then they offer to their spiritual master. In other words, they're completely offensive. The instructions of Krishna's pure devotee, and what everything that Srila Prabhupada tells us is instructions coming from Krishna, because he's Krishna's intimate associate. And for anyone to think that the bona fide spiritual master, that Krishna's pure devotee, it can make mistakes in this way, especially when he's telling us, it never becomes prasadam. It only becomes part of an offensive process. Therefore, the members of the ISKCON society are not eating prasadam. They're eating the offenses that they're putting on the altar before these conditioned souls who are their spiritual masters, so-called. So when Srila Prabhupada sees that we're taking real prasadam, that is going up the line of spiritual masters to Lord Chaitanya, and then to Radha and Krishna, and then coming back down that line. And then we're taking. So he become very pleased. He likes. So taking prasadam is a meditation. We sing Sharira Vidya Jal Jotendriya Tahekal Jive Fele Vishaya Sagare. So like that. Oh Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses, a network of paths leading me to death. Of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and difficult to control. But Krishna is so kind, he has given us this nice prasadam, spiritual food, to help conquer the tongue. Now, let us take this prasadam to our full satisfaction. And in love, call on the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. That we should take prasadam, praying to Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda for the ability to honor this prasadam. This bhoga has been offered to Radha and Krishna. It's been blessed by the disciplic succession. It's non-different from Krishna himself. So to have this understanding and take prasadam in a joyful spirit, we have to meditate on Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. What was their mood when taking prasadam? That they're so ecstatic. And by meditating like that, we can come to by the blessings of our spiritual master, Guru and Gauranga, by the blessings of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada, we can come to understand what it means to take Krishna Prasadam. Therefore, the prayer every day that is sung before taking Prasadam, and call on the help of Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. Not that this food stuff is now rubber stamped officially, just like you go through customs when you're traveling to a different country and they stamp your passport, the rubber stamp. It's official. Now you can. So now we've put the food stuff on the altar, said some prayers, and now it's official. It's prasadam. We don't have to think about it anymore. We can talk about all nonsense. We can think about all nonsense. We can think about our to-do list because it's prasadam. No, we're supposed to be taking it. It's a very big part of our devotional life to take prasadam in the mood, meditating on Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, how they're taking prasadam, and I begging them, please share this mood with me. Just like he says one prayer in Chaitanya Charitamrita, may that Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Shachi Devi, be transcendentally situated in the innermost chambers of our hearts. That Lord Chaitanya should be in the innermost chamber of our hearts, not as only as a picture, but transcendentally situated. He's singing and dancing alive in us, in the innermost chambers of our hearts, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has the color of his skin is like the color of Srimati Radharani, of her skin, her body. With the radiance, he appears in this age of Kali by his causeless mercy in order to bestow what no other incarnation has ever offered before. He's sharing Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna with all of us, that we can get some taste of what it means to be a devotee of Krishna in that mood. No other incarnation has ever offered that kind of benediction. They teach, each one has some different teachings, but never, no other and they're unlimited. In the Brahma Samhita, it's explained that the incarnations, they're coming like the waves on the river. That's how many incarnations there are. But not one of them has ever given what Lord Chaitanya is distributing. That he's distributing the spiritual tastes of love of Krishna as they exist in the Krishna Loka planet. It's written in Chaitanya Charitamrita that if one does everything perfectly in the sadhana, under the direction of the spiritual master, does everything perfectly, he can go to Vaikuntha, where Krishna is worshipped in awe and veneration. But to go to Krishna Loka planet and have these feelings of love for Krishna, like the residents of Vrindavan, They don't even know that Krishna is God. They're not even interested to know that Krishna is God. Mother Jashoda thinks this is my child. The cowherd boys, they want to wrestle with Krishna in the pasturing ground and play so many games. And they take prasadam together by the stream, take care of the calves and cows. And they love Krishna. They want to hug him. And the cowherd girls, they're all falling in love with Krishna because he's so charming and playing on his flute, looking at them sideways with smiling lips as he's walking back to Vrindavan or taking the cows away to the pasturing ground. So these feelings of friendship, of parental affection, of conjugal affection, as they exist in Krishna Loka, Lord Chaitanya is coming to share that with us. So the prayer is he should be always transcendentally situated in the innermost chamber of our heart. If we can meditate on him, if we can begin to understand how joyfully he's taking prasadam. So next verse, number 5, Shri Radhika Mad Abhayor Para Madhurya Leela Gunarupanam Nam Pratikshana Swa Dhanalolopasya Bande Guroshi Charanarabindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarabindam. That the spiritual master is always eager to hear and to chant about the unlimited conjugal pastimes of Radhika and Madhava, and to hear about their qualities. Krishna has, I think, 64 qualities. Srimati, as described, Nectar of Devotion. Srimati Radharani, 25 qualities, and about their names, and about their forms. So the spiritual master, he's pure devotee. He aspires to be relishing these topics at every moment. And he is. He is. That is from him that we can acquire this taste that we sing every morning. Prema Bhakti Yaha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate. From him, these feelings emanate. And if we can catch these feelings from him, our ignorance is destroyed. When we catch the taste of love of Krishna in our heart, that immediately obliterates all the influence of Maya, the illusory energy of Krishna. Just like when we turn on the light in the room, the darkness is gone. In the same way, when we have some feeling of affection for Krishna, under the guidance of our spiritual master, who is always, his heart is saturated with these feelings of love of Krishna. Therefore, he has the ability to share these feelings with us. In the 10th canto, the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the meaning of initiation, diksha, he said that this diksha or initiation, this beginning of this relationship with the spiritual master, he says that one has to have a connection with him from the heart. He calls it heart to heart, heart to heart, two hearts. Our heart and Srila Prabhupada's heart become joined. We feel each other's feelings. As Srila Prabhupada explains, that unless the spiritual master is of that quality, of that caliber, that he always has Krishna in his heart, 100%. It's not possible for the student, the disciple, to learn how to have Krishna in their heart. That's why Prema Bhaktiya Hoite is stating that from him this feeling of affection for Krishna is coming. And if we catch it, if we can catch that, then we become Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious. We use these words so freely, almost hackneyed, Krishna conscious. But Krishna conscious means that our consciousness, that we're feeling these loving feelings, affectionate feelings towards Krishna. That's Krishna consciousness. It's explained. Nectar of devotion. Srila Kapila Dev is instructing his mother. Srila Kapila Dev, he's an incarnation of God. So he's giving instructions that he says, my pure devotees, they're enjoying this feeling of Krishna consciousness so much that they're not interested in asking me for anything except to be engaged in that consciousness. They don't even ask to live with me in my spiritual abode. They only say, please let me have this consciousness. So, and next verse. So that's a real spiritual master, that he's always living in touch with Krishna, and he wants nothing more than to always enjoy Krishna consciousness like that. And he wants to share that with us. Prema Bhakti, from him, this feeling he shares with us. Just like it said, chapter 5, first canto, chapter 5, verse 25, purport. Srila Prabhupada explained that you catch it like you catch a disease, like you catch an infection. You become infected with the disease. We all have that experience. He says that pure devotion is as much infectious, but in a good sense, like an infectious disease. And he says, what does this infection mean? It means, he explains in this purport, 1.5.25, that infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe the taste of devotion. What does it feel like to have this love of Krishna? That's the infection. But if one wants to get infected with Krishna consciousness, you have to be in touch with someone who has that infection. In other words, the spiritual master has to be a pure devotee who has this love of Krishna. The spiritual master has to be Mahabhagavat. He has to be the topmost devotee who is a Nitya Siddha. Otherwise, he can't share with it. He can only share with us what he himself has in his own heart. And so we worship a spiritual master who has these qualities. Otherwise, anyone can repeat what is written in Bhagavad Gita. Anyone can say you keep the four regulative principles. Anyone can give instruction on this and that into Sambandha. What is our constitutional relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That we're eternal individual spirit souls. Our constitutional position is service of Krishna. Anyone can repeat these things. Any rascal fool can repeat these things. But who do they have the ability to share love of God? Do they have the ability to share love of Krishna? Only one who has love of Krishna can share love of Krishna. And this is a transcendental relationship. And one should understand what it means to have a bona fide spiritual master. And if he doesn't understand this aspect of the transcendental science of Krishna consciousness and how we become Krishna conscious, doesn't matter if he calls himself ISKCON, doesn't matter if he calls himself Prabhupada Nuga. Doesn't matter what he calls himself. If he doesn't have a living relationship, he lives forever by his divine instructions and the follower lives with him. But these are his instructions. Srila Prabhupada talks about subjective instruction. In the Chaitanya means subjective, there's objective instruction, philosophy, metaphysics, conceptual understanding, and there's a different kind of instruction. It's called subjective. You look up the word subjective in the dictionary. You Google it. Today we live with computers. Subjective means all about the feelings of the heart. He's giving that kind of instruction because, and he can infect us with that taste. And so praying at the lotus feet of our spiritual master, always desiring his mercy. Every chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita says ends praying at the lotus feet of Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring their mercy. Rupa and Raghunath are the spiritual masters of Krishnadas Kaviraj, and he's thinking of his spiritual master, praying at their feet, always praying for their benediction, their mercy. Please, you share this Krishna consciousness with me. Because there's no other way to get it. It's not a question. Srila Prabhupada talks about it. That mechanically keeping all the rules is called niyam agraha. He says you're keeping all the rules and missing the point. The point is how to love Krishna. That's what Krishna consciousness means. It's not a bunch of rules. Krishna consciousness means to have this loving consciousness feeling about Krishna. Where can we get it? Only from someone who has it. only from Krishna's intimate associate who is coming to the material world to share with us like that. So next verse talks about this. Shakshad Hari Tvina Samasta Shastrir Ruktas Tataba Vyata Eva Sadhi Kintu Prabhoja Priya Eva Tasya Bande Guru Sri Charanara Bindam Bande Guru Sri Charanara Bindam Bande Guru Sri Charanara Bindam Bande Guru Sri Charanara Bindam. That the spiritual master, we should think of him just like we think of God, just like we think of Krishna. What it's saying here, because why? Because he's so intimately associated with Krishna, and he's bringing us the message of Krishna. What it says, the most confidential servant of the Lord, and this, to relate to him in this way, this is acknowledged in all the revealed scriptures and is followed by all the authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master. What is such a spiritual? The spiritual master who is empowered by Krishna to share Krishna consciousness with us. Shakshad Hari. He's a form of Krishna himself. That he's not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he's empowered by Krishna to share love of Krishna with us. And there's no other way to get. This is sung every morning by all the devotees. Prabhupada Nuga, ISKCON devotees, and any other nonsenses that are out there. So, and these are the instructions. He lives forever by his divine instruction. Followers live with him. These are also these divine instructions. To see him as we would see Krishna himself, because he's empowered by Krishna. To see only that personality who's empowered by Krishna, appointed by Krishna, not by the votes of some nonsense meeting of GBC. He's empowered by Krishna. And this is what is said is in the scripture. Yeah, just like I look online. How many, there's Christianity followers of Jesus Christ, that there are some 4,000 different churches. When I say different churches, I don't mean individual churches, I mean different teachings representing Jesus. In the same way, now it's only 50 years and so many things are being changed. And that's only 50 years, in 100 years, in 200 years, what Krishna consciousness will be like. Just like I was reading one passage of a discussion between Srila Prabhupada and some of the disciples who came to see him from Hawaii, and they had beards. And Srila Prabhupada said, I don't accept beards. And they said, well, when we were in Hawaii, you didn't tell us this. So Srila Prabhupada said, now I'm telling you. And they had different arguments, this, that, this, that. And Srila Prabhupada said, Now I'm telling you, and it's right there in print. Anyone who's keeping a beard is not my disciple. Anyone who's keeping a beard is not my disciple. So the person who was arguing with Srila said, oh, okay. So, but today there's so many devotees. They're keeping long hairs and beards. And Srila Prabhupada writes even in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Lord Chaitanya found this objectionable. When Srila Sanatana Goswami, he stopped working for the Muslim government and he came to see Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya saw he has long beard and long hair. Lord Chaitanya asked, take him and get him clean, shaved. That Lord Chaitanya didn't like, nor are disciplic session likes. It's objectionable. So then if people are trying to become devotees, what's the idea? That we want to go to Krishna. And we need the blessings of our spiritual master before we can do that. We require the blessings of, that's in the last verse. Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasad. When he's pleased, then we get Krishna's blessing. There's no other way. That's what he's here for. He's Krishna's representative. So if we can't even shave our face or cut our hair, and we're expecting to receive his blessing, said anyone who's keeping, not my disciple, not. So we have to be, we can't create our own ideas. What is this Krishna consciousness? So this last verse, Yatsya prasadat bhagavat prasado yasya prasadana kutir katopi dayam stubam stasya yashastri shandam bande guru shri charanarvindam bande guru shri Charanarvindam Bande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. That by the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Therefore, I should always remember and praise the spiritual master. And at least 3 times in a day, I should offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. So here, without his grace, one cannot make any advancement. When he's pleased, Krishna is pleased. We have to know what he wants. We have to try how to please him. And how to please him is not a question of following a checklist. It's a heart-to-heart relationship of wanting to please him. It's a personal relationship, transcendental relationship. It's the external manifestation of the all-pervasive super soul in our heart. He can have a personal relationship with all of us simultaneously. This is inconceivable but Krishna has Shakshat Hari. He's empowered by Krishna to take this position. The Christians have the same understanding of Jesus, that they worship him as God. They don't quite understand. He's not God, nor is Srila Prabhupada is not God, but they're empowered that we can approach Krishna through the bona fide spiritual master. And if we can please him by having an intimate relationship, what does he want in that intimate relationship? Srila Prabhupada writes, to one who has genuine love for the bona fide spiritual master, everything becomes revealed, quote unquote. If we can have real love for Srila Prabhupada, he reciprocates by sharing his Krishna consciousness with us. We'll understand feelings of love for Krishna. We have to have an intimate relationship with a bona fide spiritual master in order to go forward in this Krishna consciousness. We're not here to become members of something, that this is my church, this is my religion, etc., etc. We're here to cultivate our relationship with God under the guidance of someone who has full-blown relationship with Krishna and can share his feelings with us through subjective instruction. That is a real spiritual master. Otherwise, nonsense. Otherwise, waste of time. Hare Krishna. Thanks. Thank you.
You mentioned this last point about um, unless one has unflinching faith in the spiritual master, or something in that regards, that everything will be revealed.
Yeah, if one
Unflinching,
has genuine love,
genuine love, yes, yes, yes,
so the ability to love,
yes.
this is a mode of goodness. In passion and in ignorance is not possible to love.
Yeah.
So this, therefore, Srila Prabhupada writes things or says things like, a real Brahmin can become a Vaishnava. Because a real Brahmin, he's loving everyone. He has spontaneous feelings of affection for everyone. He sees them as spirit soul. Even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, 1854, that when one becomes 1851 to 53, there's all Brahminical cultivation. That's all it's about. And then Krishna says, that this is conducive to realization, that the mode of goodness, when it's really cultivated, is conducive to the beginning of having an experience that I'm not this body. And then when one has that experience, what happens? He becomes joyful, prasanatma, within his heart. And then what happens? When he becomes joyful in his heart is fulfilled. He has no more hankering and no more lamentation about his material conditions in his life. He's just happy. And when a person requires these qualities, he sees everyone with love. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu. And then Krishna says, when you have all these qualities, mad bhaktim labhate param. Now you can become a devotee. So we have to have the ability to love before we can become a devotee. What we don't understand, as long as we're in the modes of passion and ignorance or influenced by degree, in that way.
Mm. Right.
Is that a person in goodness feels, um, see, love has no sense of direction. It's not a business deal that if I'm getting something that I want from you, I love you. And if I'm not getting what I want a divorce.
Mm.
That's not love, that's business.
Right.
Love is not asking for anything, love is giving. Love is spontaneously wishing everyone well.
Right.
Love is taking pleasure in the well-being, in the happiness of others. That's all that love is. And when that feeling of taking pleasure in the happiness of others is transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is pure devotee, it's called bhakti.
Mm.
It's that orientation of taking pleasure in the happiness of others. But if we do it in the material world, that I'm interested in the happiness of my race, or in the happiness, or I'm patriotism, or I'm happiness I'm feeding the poor, or I'm taking happiness that I'm putting clothes on people who don't have clothes, or I'm taking happiness of giving food, or I'm taking happiness in opening a hospital.
Mm.
But Srila Prabhupada says that's like trying to save a drowning man by diving into the water, swimming towards the drowning man, coming back with his shirt and pants, and letting the man drown.
Right.
Why? Because we're not these bodies, we're spirit soul. So although the love that we feel for family, society, friendship, community, race, nation, and etc. It is a very nice feeling. It's a generous feeling, but it's not solving the problems of birth and death.
Right.
It's not saving anyone. So, but if that same feeling of taking happiness in the happiness and well-being of others is that same orientation transferred to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada says until one has this orientation in the heart, it's very hard to transfer it. It's just like you have two accounts, savings account, checking account at the bank,
Money.
and you want to transfer from savings into checking so you can pay your bills, or from checking to saving so that you can save some money. But if you don't have,
Money.
if we don't have money in one of the accounts, how can we have nothing to transfer? So,
Mm.
so we have to come to this platform of goodness where we actually start to enjoy. Yeah, everyone has had this experience. You do something nice for someone, it makes you feel good, right?
Yes.
Yes, we all know it. But most of the time, or some percentage of the time, we're so concerned with our to-do list, our
Mm.
success and failure. These are this is passion and ignorance. And in that mood, it's very hard because we become frustrated if it doesn't work, or we lament, or we become angry. As Krishna explains all this to Arjuna, then it's very hard to be loving. So we have to become free of all this. A person, na sochati na kankshati, living on the platform of no hankering and no lamenting. Why? Because in the heart, there's this feeling that I got everything I need. I got this internal happiness. And I can feel that way about everybody and want to share that with everybody. Then Mad Bhaktim Labhate. Then one can be a devotee. And as Krishna says in the next verse, 1855, that it is love that makes it work because uh, how did he say? Bhakti-amam abhichanati. Unless this love is directed towards me, Krishna says, I don't reveal myself to anyone. I have to be approached with love. It's not that people are teaching that if you mechanically follow this process, you'll
Mm.
one day be benedicted with love. We won't.
No money in the bank.
Nothing to transfer to Krishna. Therefore, love is the means and love is the goal. Srila Prabhupada say, in Krishna consciousness, the means and the goal are one and the same. It's just like I give that example. If you want to start a business, what is the goal of the business? Is to make money. But you need some startup capital. In order to start the business, you need money to make money. We need love to make love. If we want to have love of Krishna, we have to approach Krishna with love, and then incrementally there's reciprocation. We feel his love in return. Our faith and our love grows, and we approach Krishna in that way. And then there's more reciprocation, more revelation. And that way we go from one platform to the next. That love is the means and love. So therefore we have to become, just like Srila Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion, 12th chapter, that association is like, the words are crystal stone, which is explained by Srila Prabhupada, means like a mirror. It reflects. Association, we reflect whatever it comes, we associate with our heart. So what are we? So therefore, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the relationship with a spiritual master who has love of God. That if we associate with somebody who has love of Krishna in their heart, our heart can reflect like a mirror, and that just like the sun shines, the moon picks up the sun, the moon reflects, and then covers the whole landscape at night with the light of the sun. In the same way, if we're in touch with a pure devotee who has love of Krishna, our heart can reflect that love to Krishna Loka. Isn't that wonderful? But Srila Prabhupada says in the 12th chapter, it's on the last page, unless the mirror of the heart is clean, it cannot reflect. Therefore, mode of goodness. We have to have a relationship with our spiritual master and keep ourselves very pure so that we can feel his feelings of love for Krishna, and then that feeling becomes the baseline of our sadhana. We engage in Krishna consciousness with that feeling that we're imbibing. Therefore, we're always practicing Krishna consciousness in the association of pure devotee and under the guidance of a pure devotee. He's teaching us how to love. This is our philosophy of Krishna consciousness, not a checklist of instructions that we keep. Of course, everything will get some benefit, but to develop love of Krishna, we have to have that intimate association with someone who is uh,
Right.
Hare Krishna.
All right. Thank you, Ishan Prabhu, for this wonderful uh, reading and discussion.
Hare Krishna.
Surrender and love, they're synonymous, right? I mean, one cannot
That
surrender.
is what we're surrendering.
Yeah.
I'm keeping my heart
Mm.
independent, separate.
Mm.
Surrender means I'm now opening my heart,
Yeah.
giving it. Now you come into my heart, Srila Prabhupada, you come into my
Right.
heart. And you just like we say that there's two birds in the tree. The soul and the super soul are in everyone's heart in the material world. Uh, the individual and the spiritual master is the external manifestation of that very same Lord in the heart. So that we cannot feel our connection with Krishna in our heart, but if we bring Srila Prabhupada into our heart, it's not different. And he says that the super soul is just waiting for the individual soul to turn to him. So Srila Prabhupada is waiting for us to turn to him.
Mm.
Yeah. So then like that, yeah, so we have to have a clean heart
Mm.
in order to feel his presence, and then we can reflect Krishna consciousness to Krishna and to the whole world. And
Mm.
of course, little by little, it's not an all or nothing process, but we cultivate and we're growing little by little in that way. And
Good.
we're going forward. Hare Krishna.
All right, I think we've come to the end of our discussion, Ishan Prabhu, unless you have anything more else to say.
Oh, no.
Well, so we'll continue this meeting next week, same time, 5 p.m.
Hare,
And anyone who's watching, they can join or send a comment to our YouTube page or just send me an email. Thank you very much, Ishan Prabhu. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu, for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila